Well, let's get into the big story, and we actually do have a super chat about this. Where was that super chat? Fish Addict setting us up nicely. Are the accusations against Russell Brand legit, or just another mainstream media attempt to discredit someone exposing the truth and entrench powers? Russell Brand is having quite a week, isn't he?
He certainly is.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, he got deplatformed on YouTube, which I think that's a question I want to ask you about. Why? I mean, I understand that he has these accusations, but doesn't he have a right to innocence until proven guilty?
I mean, I would think he would have a right to innocence until proven guilty. I mean, YouTube is basically like they're really cracking down on like a lot of stuff, and thankfully it doesn't really affect me all that much, but I think like more outspoken people, they can definitely twist the rules whatever way they want. A lot of people are saying that this is people trying to shut up Russell Brand. I don't know. Like I'm kind of two minds about this. I think Russell Brand is annoying.
Mhm.
And I understand like the appeal of someone going on like a public red pill journey, but Russell Brand is annoying. Russell Brand has always been annoying. I don't think
Mhm.
Russell Brand is funny. I was watching my favorite royal commentator. His name is River, and he is like this like drag queen that like lives in the UK, and he was talking about how like he's like met Russell Brand several times, like just in different like cafes that he worked in and stuff like that.
Mhm.
And Russell Brand has always been weird, and it's always been something to the point where like Russell Brand tried to make him like purposefully stared at him to make him feel uncomfortable, or like that he was like looking for attention, like he was
Mhm.
as River was like proactively ignoring him because he didn't like him either. And so Russell Brand would just sit there and stare at him, almost like trying to get him to pay attention to him, which I thought was really weird. And so like I've never been like the biggest fan of Russell Brand, even though I know people do like some of his like takes on politics and stuff like that because he's kind of waking up and red pilling and that's appealing. However, I also do think there's something to the fact that I do think people are trying to shut him up. I
Mhm.
absolutely do. So it's like I think two things can be true, right? Like Russell Brand can be annoying and kind of and possibly a potentially awful person in terms of these accusations, but these accusations could also like why were they digging down this rabbit hole in the first place? Like why is it coming out now? Like I mean so like I think that it's both true that like the accusation there could be truth to the accusations, but they could also be using them to just shut him up. What do you think?
I think that that's very true. I think a lot of the people that may have gone, I think a lot of, especially in Hollywood, a lot of conservatives pretend that they're liberal and they stay out of trouble, which is the smartest thing to do. You're getting paid an outrageous amount of money, millions upon millions of dollars. Well, you're going to do it. Brad Pitt might do and pretend that he is liberal. I mean, he knows who butters his bread. And I think in doing so, you provide yourself a degree of security, a degree of insulation from the government. If you have done something wrong, and everybody in Hollywood has skeletons in their closets, right?
Oh yeah.
So yeah, I keep thinking about the Tara Reid stuff. I keep wondering why that wasn't blown up as much as it should have been. And I think it's unfair. I do think that highly likely that these charges are legitimate, though. Highly
Yeah.
likely. But I don't think that he should have been deplatformed on YouTube because we don't know yet, right? It's definitely
Yeah.
worth investigating, but to cut off his mic like that, even though I'm glad because I don't like him, quite frankly. I still think from an objective standpoint, I can't believe that they took him off of YouTube. That's
Yeah.
just, I think, strange. What's their
I
rationale?
I think that that's honestly like the biggest indicator, like that this is like a concerted effort to shut him up. Is like the instantly he's just been deplatformed from everything. He was taken out of like the positions of like his production companies and stuff like that. And I'm sure like lots of stuff has happened to him. There's already been a lot of ramifications of it. I think he still has like his Rumble show, but like I mean, is it really been really smart for him to do this show now? Because like I don't necessarily think his public statement was necessary. Like I only saw a little bit of it, but I was like, yo, that public statement was a stupid idea.
He's a Gemini. He can't help himself. And that's the thing that you told me that at least he's still on Rumble. I'm like, okay, he got sober, right? He's obviously a talking addict, which quite frankly a lot of Geminis are. They're compulsive talkers. So now, yeah, I don't think that he couldn't help himself. He couldn't
Yeah.
help himself. And also, I think that, I mean, he made it really, really clear in his book that he was extremely promiscuous. Of course,
Like
he's
duh.
done.
Duh.
Right.
Like, I know we're all shocked at the fact that Russell Brand is a whore.
Right. I mean, he's made that super clear. And I think it's interesting that this is coming up. And I think that, I mean, there are so many stories. I mean, like, okay, what's his name? David Bowie. I think, you know, he when the Me Too thing came out, he was like, deuces, I'm gone. And good thing.
Yeah, for real, right?
And if you've seen Axl Rose lately, he's like a shell of the person that he once was. And I wonder if that is that fear, because it was the wild, wild west back then. Let's just face it. Maybe not in 2003, I think, these accusations, but at least in the 80s.
Aren't like celebrities expected to sleep around? Like, isn't this like a thing? Like, I'm sorry, groupies go backstage and get with celebrities and they know what they're doing. No one is confused about what's going on there.
Right. Like Steven Tyler, what's he going to do? Like, oh, hey, honey, do you have an ID?
Yeah, exactly. It's like, bro.
It was a different time back then. I don't think Russell Brand really has that excuse because it was in the 2000s, but in the 80s, maybe even in the beginning of the 90s, that's just something that you did. And when that's your context, and that's, you know, there's nothing morally reprehensible about it in that context. Of course, if you look at it,
but like,
it is.
But like, why is it even more? I don't know. I'm not talking about like the underage stuff. I'm not talking about anything non-consensual. But like, why is it so morally reprehensible to like F around? Like, you're a rock star, you're a celebrity. Like, people want to sleep with you. It's consenting adults doing consenting adults thing. Again, I'm not saying about anything about the underage stuff or anything about the alleged non-consensual stuff. But like, why is that? Why do people care? I don't get it.
I don't think that is the issue. I think that the issue is that when you are drunk beyond belief or high on every drug in the book, then the age thing does come into play, because you got plenty of girls at that stage that are 16, 15, 14, full makeup, and they are lying, and there's no due diligence. So I agree with you that I don't think it's an issue, but I think that it's really clear that when, you know, these rockers with these groupies, they're not vetting them. They're just doing what they do. You know, I mean, it's just, that's the way of the world back then. And now we're, you know, we're much more careful.
Nah, fair point. Yeah. Well, we do have Russell Brand's astrological chart pulled up. So let's take a look at that chart and you can tell us about what's going on.
Absolutely. Well, let's just look at the natal chart and I'll show you his transits. Can you see my screen, or do I need to do something?
You need to share your screen, and then it'll take us like 18 seconds because my computer's really slow right now.
I get it. Okay.
You gotta go down and present.
I see now. Oh no. Hold on.
Don't show us your porn. Don't show us your porn.
I don't have porn on my computer. Thank you very much. God help us. Can you imagine? That would be
awful. I would never look at you the same way again, Joshua.
Don't worry. You'll never see anything remotely controversial.
You need to be asexual in my eyes.
Whatever you want. Why am I having a hard time pulling this? Hold on. Let me see.
I don't know.
You know what I'm going to do? I know what I'm going to do. I'm just going to screenshot it because that's going to make life a lot easier.
All right.
Let's see here. And then I have to screenshot actually his transits.
While you're getting that ready, I'll show this super chat from Tune In Drop Out. He said, if he were playing ball with the corporate media, we would never have heard a peep. These women are not acting alone. They are being sponsored. Well, we're going to look into that. Tune In Drop Out. We're going to ask.
That's so interesting. I love these conspiracies. Let's see here. Hold on. Okay.
And then we also have this super chat from Beth. Good evening, fearless leader and clever clairvoyant. You're not a clairvoyant, Joshua. You're clairaudient.
I'm clairvoyant as well as clairaudient.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Mm-hmm. And clairsentient.
Oh, you have all the senses. Okay.
I do. I don't know which ones I don't have. Let me see. Okay, so let's first look at his natal.
All right. Thank you, Beth.
Show you this. This should be easier. Here we go. See? Everything.
Yay!
You can see it okay?
Add to stage. Yes, I have it. Hang on.
Oh, I gave you transits. Hold on.
All right.
I want to show you his.
Well, do the other one then.
I am.
Jesus.
Sorry.
Guys, well, Joshua is getting his non-Mercury retrograde shit together. Please go ahead and mount that like button for us. I swear we usually have it a bit more together than this, but we're going to do good Russell Brand information tonight, so it's going to be great. All right, here it is.
Here it is. So this is his natal chart. Russell has a Capricorn rising, which makes Saturn the ruler of his chart, and Saturn is in Cancer, and it's in the 6th house. So
if you want to run your mouse over it to show people, it'll show up on the screen.
Sorry. So this is the Capricorn rising at 28. Capricorn's ruled by the planet Saturn, and Saturn is over here. And that is really his big issues, right? Saturn in Cancer. So that's about really restriction with mother. So he has big time mommy issues because look what's going on here. This Saturn is making an exact square with his Jupiter in Aries.
We don't like squares.
Squares are very, very awkward and require adjustment. So I have a feeling that there may have been some kind of issue in terms of mother. It'll be interesting because I haven't read his autobiography, but I wonder if there was like 2 mother figures and they were vying for attention, and one may have been inappropriate. Something is weird there because I don't think that I think that Saturn in Cancer is really, really relevant. And that Saturn in Cancer at 17 degrees bosses around the whole chart. So in addition to that, he has a Capricorn rising, and he also has, wait for it, an Aries moon.
Oh, wow.
So when you have an Aries moon, it's very instinctual. And I mean, we all do this, right? Like, don't you do things on automatic pilot without even thinking about them?
I never do things without thinking about them, Joshua. I always give careful consideration to every single thing I say and do.
Never. You write a list with one side with the pros, the other side with your cons.
Absolutely.
Yeah. So he does have that Mars, Aries moon Mars. So again, his instinctual reactions, Aries can be very rational, sure, but they also are very primal. And it's the fieriest fire sign. So, it's very much about survival, and really sex and survival are very much connected, right? So it's very interesting. And of course, he's a Gemini sun, which I took for granted that but he was actually born with Mercury retrograde in Gemini at 22.
Oh, what does that mean?
So Mercury retrograde when you're born is actually not bad. There are some really brilliant people that were born with Mercury retrograde in their charts. One of the guys actually from Big Brother, I've been watching it on Netflix. He was a genius, and I say that like evil genius, a guy by the name of Dan Giesling, and he actually has Mercury retrograde in his chart. So you can be very, very smart. You might need to analyze things, and there is a tendency with Mercury retrograde to say something and then be like, oh boy, I shouldn't have said that. But with all the Gemini in his chart and also the quick Aries, he's going to be able to backpedal quite well. But he has a stellium in Aries. Not only is his moon there, but he has Mars there as well as Jupiter. So very interesting. I'm going to show you what's going on with him transit wise.
Okay.
It's quite interesting what is going on with him transit wise. Let's see. So Russell, is this the right one? Hold on. Oh, here we go. Transits. Do you have it? Perfect.
Okay.
So, the outer wheel is what's going on in the skies right now, and the inner wheel is his chart. So the big thing that we notice is Chiron, which is woundedness. Transiting Chiron is at 18 degrees Aries, and that is on his Jupiter.
So it makes it big.
It makes it big, but also there's pain with Chiron associated with excess, with exposure, with being larger than life. So he's suffering now the pain of excesses. And that is what he admittedly was like when he was younger and on drugs and drinking. He was very, very excessive. So that is being triggered. And also that Chiron at 18 degrees Aries is making a square to his chart ruler, which is at 17 degrees Cancer. So
what does that mean?
His emotional security and his work, because that's the 6th house, that's where he he really, a big part of his life is his day-to-day schedule. There's a big conflict between this sense of woundedness and how he emotionally goes about his day-to-day life. And that Saturn is the ruler of his chart. So that's being squared by Chiron. So there's a lot of pain in terms of lifestyle, which is 6th house. Again, mother. This is a very strong mother chart. Even with the Aries moon alone, when you have your moon in Aries, you probably perceived your mother to be incredibly impatient and very self-absorbed, right? Because Aries is the house of self. Their job is to assert themselves. They're not natural moms. You know what I mean?
Don't I know it?
Don't you know it,
Don't
right?
I know it?
Well, that's why you don't bear
That's why I
children.
don't have kids.
Right.
I mother the internet, apparently.
Exactly. And I'm not suggesting, I mean, my mom's an Aries and she's a great mom. But a lot of times archetypically, Aries is going to be more of the pioneer and more self-focused. So yeah, it's just really interesting. We also have Mercury at 9 degrees Virgo squaring his sun right now as well. So his whole energy right now in terms of his emotional security is being challenged. So Reader's Digest version, this is a big thing for him right now in terms of his level of emotional security and what makes him feel at home within the self. Most likely he overcompensated for feelings of abandonment with his mother, feeling emotionally secure with her by having a lot of sex with women. Now that is catching up with him. And there is an argument, because he is a Gemini, that could be made his recent foray into news media could be really about him trying to reconcile the relationship with his father. It's very interesting. And now it's coming back. Right.
The chickens are coming home to roost. So let's start to dig into it. Are these accusations legit, or well, let's just start with that, because like I think the accusations can be legit, and this can be an attempt to discredit him. So like, is there any truth to these accusations?
I mean, we'll pull cards, but I'm pretty sure it is.
I wouldn't be surprised if it. Well, we're not going to be biased, Joshua. You can't be a biased psychic. Got to be detached.
We'll have the journalistic objectivity.
Yes.
Psychic objectivity. So can we see the question again? Do you mind putting it on screen?
Yes.
Are the accusations against Russell Brand legit, or just another MSM attempt to discredit someone? The accusations against Russell Brand legit, or just another? And say when, please.
When?
Are the Russell Brand accusations legit? I would say so, yes. Because you have the Temperance card, which is a balance of temperament, patience, and tolerance. And it is about keeping the even flow of emotion from you. I think did you hear the tape of the woman?
No, I didn't hear it. No.
She sounded very legitimate to me. She goes, I mean, she was also 16. However, what I found out fairly recently is that's the age of consent in England.
That makes sense though, because I think like, don't they finish high school early or something like that, or like before it's different there.
I mean, I guess it varies in the States. I thought it was 17, but I guess it might vary by state.
I think it varies by state. Yeah.
I think in Massachusetts it's 17.
Yeah.
I think. In any case, the Temperance card is about that even flow of emotions, and this guy is free. He's free, and he's loud and proud, and Temperance is Sagittarius. Sagittarius very rarely lies. They'll tell you to go to hell. It's none of your business, but they're not going to lie. Do you know what I mean?
Right.
Then you get the Queen of Wands. This is mastery of self-knowledge. Again, I think with the Queen of Wands, energetically, it's Leo. It's about light. It's about truth. I don't see this card indicating any deception. And then you have the High Priestess. Now, the High Priestess is about secrets being revealed. There is more to this, I think, than just her. You do have her, but I do think that with the high priestess, there is a lot of stuff that's underneath the surface. There might be, people may have gone looking for these chicks. You know what I mean? In fact, what I'm getting is that this may have been squashed previously to protect him, maybe when he was in the power that be good graces, and then I think it came up. But I think there's also the high priestess, there's more to be revealed, and I think that it's going to be even more scandalous.
Oh, good. Oh, good. Well, let's look into that, though. Can we get more information on, like, why is this coming up now?
Yeah, let's see.
Because that's the weird thing about all this. Like the fact that Russell Brand was a whore doesn't surprise me. The fact that Russell Brand did some things that he probably shouldn't have done does not surprise me.
Right.
But, like, why now?
Why now is this coming up?
Russell Brand's been famous a long time.
Well, from what they're saying, just so you know, what I heard is that they've been working on this case for a very long time to make sure that they have their I's dotted and their T's crossed. But that could just be a line.
Still a long time.
It is. 20 years.
Mm-hmm.
Right? So why is this coming up now?
Yeah.
And say when?
When?
Let's see. Why is this coming up now? Interesting. Remember we were talking before about Pisces and pharmaceutical stuff? Well, that's what the moon card has to do with. And I do think that he was a very strong proponent for people having their own individual rights and probably raised flags about pharma, I'm guessing, right?
Yep. Mm-hmm. Yes, he did.
The moon could very well be that. And then you got people that are in power. So this is happening because somebody who has the ability to make or break somebody's career is definitely perhaps being influenced by this. Mm-hmm. So I think it's a matter of, what I'm getting is there's different entities that are in bed together. Pharma is in bed with somebody. I don't know if it's the media, the government, or all the above, or these other entities that I'm not aware of. But I do think that they're in bed together. There's definitely money that's being exchanged, is my guess. And then you got the Page of Swords. So
gossipy little fucker.
Yeah, I think that they planted probably a lot of information that, okay, when somebody bites on this, like, I feel like they planted a lot of gossipy seeds. Not necessarily gossip, because I guess it's true, but they planted seeds for people to talk. And then when they had the opportunity, they bit. You know what I mean? I think that they tried to flow these stories out there, and it's like, okay, well, somebody's going to pick it up, and then they do. So there's definitely other stuff going on here. It's not a matter of the world is all of a sudden really concerned about these chicks. I think that there's definitely, I think it definitely has to do with money. And I think that him and his platform could really cost a lot of people money, especially people involved in pharma.
Well, let's ask one more question about this before we move on to other questions, which is, what's going to happen to Russell Brand? What's the outcome of this for him?
Yeah. Say when?
When?
He has a charge for emotional abuse. Did you even know that you can be brought up on charges for emotional abuse?
England is a weird place.
I wonder, can you still in the US, can you? So interesting. So I think he's going to be okay. You got the Page of Swords, and he's a Gemini. And again, like, there were no cameras around. Prove it. You say that I did this. All right, where's your proof? Where is it? Even, I guess, with the Page of Swords, I think he's going to weasel himself out of this. I think that, there is going to be communications and logic that is attached to it. And then you get the 9 of Discs. So
he's going to be fine.
I think he's going to be fine. I think he might be quieter with the 4 of Cups. I think that he will, this is a very humbling experience. And I think that, he probably will settle down. I think that with the Page of Swords, my guess he's probably going to have to pay some money. Maybe there'll be a civil suit that's involved. He's probably going to have to pay some money, but I don't think he's going to go to jail.
All right.
Is that what people are insinuating, that he's actually going to go into the clink?
I don't think he's going to go to jail. Famous people never effing go to jail. Like, I mean, come on. Like, we live in the world too. All right. Well, that's our Russell Brand prediction. I guess we'll be finding out more as the weeks progress on this one. But